Americans could be in for a long, hot summer of protests against the Trump administration over issues that include proposed cuts to safety net programs, university funding, and mass deportations. But amid President Trump's threat to deploy more troops to American cities after a court win, do protests still work? KPBS's Amita Sharma joins me to explore that question. What did you find, Amita? Are protests still effective in 2025?
The year is half over, Maya, and it really is a mixed bag. San Diego is coming off a huge No King's Day protest, June 14th, with people rallying against what they believe is the Trump administration's slide toward authoritarianism. This protest had all the ingredients of a successful one. It had a purpose. It had a huge crowd. 80,000 people showed up, the largest in the city's history. It was diverse. Families, veterans, civil rights groups, politicians attended, and this is key, it was peaceful. I spoke with Wendy Galernter. She was one of the organizers of the protest, and she works for Take Action San Diego, which helps elect progressive candidates to office. And she said the success of the protest was really by design. It was not by accident.
Not only did we train our own people in de-escalation and have a special group of volunteers, peacekeepers, who were wearing yellow vests and circulating through the crowd. We had several first aid tables set up. We had legal advisors, all volunteers. But we also spent several weeks coordinating with San Diego law enforcement.
Galernter adds that for protests to work, people also have to remain active in other ways, voting, campaigning for candidates they like, and contacting elected representatives. The effectiveness of protests gets diluted when there is violence. The protesters against the ICE raids in Los Angeles earlier this month did not have months to organize and strategize as they did in San Diego. And violence, though not to the level that Governor Newsom said local law enforcement could not handle, did erupt. In fact, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, in its ruling to allow Trump's authority over the National Guard deployment in the city for now, said its decision stemmed from a group of protesters who tried to block ICE agents from their operation June 6th by throwing concrete chunks, bottles of liquid, and other objects at agents. The legal fight over that issue is ongoing. The introduction of the military, including the Marines, to protests should be a last resort, says former San Diego U.S. Attorney Carol Lamb.
In the past, we've done everything that we can do to avoid getting to that point. Here, it's almost like the president and those who answer to him are looking for a fight.
In the short term, the effect of the military deployment in L.A. does not appear to have had a huge impact. The No Kings protests happened in the days after troops were sent in, and they were mostly peaceful. But San Diego Democratic Congressman Mike Levin says the overall effect of those troops' presence in L.A. is dangerous and wrong.
I think it's designed to discourage, to chill any sort of protest, even nonviolent protests, and I think that's fundamentally un-American.
Despite the military deployment, UC San Diego political scientist Thad Kauser is optimistic that protests remain a powerful driver of change in the U.S.
Especially when they're peaceful, especially when they're from people who are really, really putting something on the line by protesting, that can absolutely change the opinions of political leaders and change the public opinion more broadly. We saw that with protests in the South, changing opinion across the country in the civil rights era.
And some quick closing points. Maya, Harvard University political scientist Erica Chenoweth has studied protests worldwide, and she found that no government can withstand a challenge if 3.5% of its population is mobilized against it peacefully. In American terms, that would be about 12 million people today, right now. But again, those protests and that mobilization has to be peaceful, sustained, organized, and able to build broader coalitions. And my last point is that there are more protests, national protests, planned for July 17th.
Well, thank you so very much for your great reporting as usual, Amita. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the story is part of our Public Matters initiative. You can learn more about it on our website at kpbs.org/publicmatters.